You're about to listen to the award-winning Stuart Pedasso Show. This show is for ideologically and emotionally mature audiences. If you should not be here, please go away. We'll still be here when you're mature enough to partake. Mwah!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Stuart Pedasso Show. I'm Dave.
I'm Melissa. I'm Carrie.
And we have with us, as I warned you on Stuart's social media, Alex Vitale is back. And if you can go, now our show when we were together, Alex, so it's a long story, we're not going to get into it. I purged like 90% of our shows a couple of years ago. I had this issue with my job, and I actually lost a job because of the show. And it's so dumb. It's really a dumb story. But the show we did together, I made sure I kept that in. I did not. If anybody had a problem with that, then they were going to have to come at me. So that's still up. So from 2022. So after listening to this show, folks, you can go back and listen to our original.
I was just wondering, it was 2022?
Yeah, I looked it up.
Okay.
Because, I'm bad with dates.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, amongst other things, I'm not saying this is the only thing you've ever done in your life. We asked Alex to come on back in the day to talk about his book, The End of Policing. And if you have not read that yet, you should totally do that. So I'm going to show it in the Zoom screen. So as I read it, all the little, how you do all the little tabs and stuff. So as I went back this week, I noticed the only chapter that didn't have any was the one about sex work. And the reason is because I was looking for things to do as I was running for office and things like that. And I just know running for local office, you sit in a neighborhood association meeting in a neighborhood where there is high amounts of prostitution, and you say, hey, maybe we should legalize it, and they kick you out. They don't want to hear it. So if you could do me a favor or do all of us a favor, and real quick, so how did that chapter on sex work get involved in that book, The End of Policing? How was that included? Because I can guarantee you, all the folks, the abolitionists I've worked with and talked to, I don't know if that's in their mindset. How did that end up being in the book?
Great. So I thought you were going to talk about the border chapter, which is also in vogue these days in a way that it never was before, the border policing. But let's definitely talk about that. And I'm extra excited to talk about it because, I'm the producer on a new 1-hour documentary on decriminalizing sex work that's been playing around the U.S. and internationally. So called Sex Work, It's Just a Job. But the origin of this for me was when I was working at the San Francisco Coalition on Homelessness in the 1990s. At a certain point, I was involved in doing street outreach around civil rights issues, and this put me in contact with some street-based sex workers. In particular, I recall a group of youth sex workers who were like runaways or had been kicked out of their homes. And at that time, we used the term like survival sex. This was a way that they were finding money to find a place to live, money to eat, etc. And so through that, I learned about the challenges that they were going through and also the ways in which the criminalization of what they were doing was making their lives worse, not better. It was not saving them. It was not leading them on some better path. It was just further immiserating them, making it more difficult for them to achieve some kind of survival, stability, whatever it was. And I had a chance to be involved with some larger sex work rights organizations like Coyote and some organizing in some of the strip clubs that was happening at that time. It wasn't my primary focus, but it was something I was aware of and following from some distance later. And of course, when I moved to New York in 93, this is when Rudolph Giuliani gets elected. And one of the things we saw from his administration was the attempt to stamp out sex work as part of a corporate-led redevelopment strategy in the Times Square area. So once
Right.
again, it got me thinking about how sex work criminalization fits into a larger agenda around quote unquote quality of life, economic development, gentrification, corporate led development, and all the rest.
And using police to help foster that.
Yeah, putting police at the center of questions around sex work rather than other kinds of approaches, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about. So then when I'm starting to conceptualize the end of policing, 10 years or so ago, to me, it seemed obvious that sex work was one of the things that we've been using police for that's a bad idea, and where we have a pretty good idea about what we should be doing instead, which is not legalization in the strict sense. We actually prefer the concept of decriminalization or the distinction between legalization and decriminalization. So if you want, maybe I can try and lay that out for
Yeah,
listeners a
please,
little
because
bit.
actually,
Well, would it
'cause-
be similar to the marijuana
It
decriminalization
is similar.
idea
Okay.
and why they don't want it for
It,
nefarious reasons, similar
it's
to the marijuana
it's
idea?
it's tricky here. So there's definitely similarities in the two things, but the implications and social meanings turn out to be slightly different, but not completely different. So let's just stay with marijuana for a second, right? Decriminalization of marijuana would mean that I could grow marijuana in my home or backyard. I could use it like I would use tobacco. Like it might still be like no smoking indoors, but basically I could use it like I use tobacco. That I could buy it from people without any special rules or regulations. Legalization of marijuana means that there's a very specific regulatory framework. You have to have a special license. You have to sell it at a special designated store that has to have a license. You can only sell it under certain conditions and inspections and special taxes for it. So mostly what we have in the US is either criminalization or legalization. However, some jurisdictions do have elements of decriminalization. In Washington, D.C., you can give marijuana to friends without a license. You can grow a certain amount without any regulations. In New York, you can grow a certain amount and you can use it on the street as you would, tobacco or something else. But distribution in New York is legalized. There are designated stores with special, highly regulated licenses. And if you buy from someone outside of that legalization regime, it's illegal for both the buyer and the seller. So sex work is very analogous. Legalization tends to mean a regime of strict regulation.
Right.
You can have legal sex work in this place under these conditions, like a red light district where it's only indoors and where there are regular medical checkups and some other controls possibly. And this is what you have in places like Germany, the Netherlands, in some places in Latin America. Decriminalization would basically be like sex work is a business, it's a personal service business like running a nail salon, like running a massage studio. You might have to pay some business taxes, but you can rent out a storefront, you can hire security, you can use a bank credit card for business expenses, you can advertise. It's just a business like any other business, like
Right.
any other freelance or incorporated business. Very little in the way of regulation. And the advantages of decriminalization over legalization is that it doesn't tend to create a secondary black market that is still hidden away, subject to criminalization, and leaving people vulnerable to more coercion and abuse because it's still in this hidden underground economy.
Doesn't decriminalization also keep women less vulnerable to people accusing them of prostitution when there's really not? Like, isn't there times when that can happen to a woman or a man too?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that means that there is no such crime of
Right,
exchanging sex or sexually related activities for something of value. Like that crime goes away,
right.
solicitation goes away. You might still have restrictions on advertising or restrictions on exactly some, like you can't do it next to a school or something like that. But if you make those regulations super strict and really difficult to comply with, then you've just reproduced the black market. So it has to be well balanced.
Hmm. Interesting.
I'm just wondering if it'd be like the same thing. Like, I have a small business. I have a little, a very small business. Technically, I'm supposed to pay taxes on that or whatever and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. I'm just, I have a DBA. Some people have an LLC, those kinds of things. And I'm thinking like, if it was decriminalized, great. I'm just wondering like, wouldn't the government go after you at some point and go, hey, I need to see some assets. I need, the
It's
IRS
possible.
that's the only thing I could see. But I'm like, well, you know what? That happens to anybody who has a business. So,
Now the
Right. I
flip,
just
the
see the beauty in the decriminalization.
oh yeah, I
Like,
can still
I
see the beauty
really
in it,
see how
yeah.
you're taking that incentive away. Like, that's amazing.
and Belgium, New Zealand, parts of Australia have fully developed decriminalization, which
Mm-hmm.
means that people are protected by labor laws, workplace safety laws, and other
Mm-hmm.
kinds of benefit schemes.
Yeah.
I totally misunderstood
Yeah.
the meaning of the word decriminalization. That makes what you're saying makes a lot of
Makes
sense.
a lot of sense. Yeah.
But because I didn't really
It's
fully
really what
understand it
most
meant.
people in a common sense way think legalization
Yes,
means,
that's
but
what
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
doing.
but in practice, legalization really means a very restrictive regulatory scheme.
I mean, there's I understand how, and this tends to happens in responsible play, like you mentioned in the chapter and the end of policing about the few places like rural Nevada where it is legal, and that just their business model is to make sure everyone has health care and is made sure everybody is safe and stuff
But
like that.
only because it's a legalization scheme, it's only at a very small number
Yeah,
of designated businesses.
right.
So people cannot operate independently of that tightly regulated scheme.
No,
So for those workers, they have some protections and some sort of access to clients who want a legal environment, but it still leaves a huge number of sex workers outside and subject to
oh yeah,
criminalization.
no, I
Yeah.
understand. But what I was saying is my point was like the why people might advocate for what my thought was of legalization was that it would almost mandate that there was health checkups and making sure in terms of STIs and things like that. That's what I was.
So legalization doesn't mean you can just do it anywhere you want.
Correct. And
Yeah.
legalization in some places does come with strict health regulations,
Mm-hmm.
but that again drives some people into the black market. So we have to be careful about trying to mandate something like health restrictions. Instead, the best practice has been to make free health care available to sex
Mm-hmm.
workers and to have peer-to-peer outreach strategies so that health departments, community-based organizations are hiring sex workers to go out and talk to other sex workers to make sure that they understand that they have easy access to these health resources. And that brings about a higher level of overall sort of quote unquote compliance or good behavior than some attempt to mandate these things in a very regulatory way.
Okay, so you jumped ahead a little bit, and I'm not going to take that bait and get to the meat of the thing. I'm going to wait because I want to unpack a few other things first, because a lot, whether legalization or decriminalization, there's still a lot of pushback in terms of the quote morality of it. And that's kind of where I wanted to go, because now obviously I haven't seen this movie, and I reached out to you because I had seen. I mean, dude, your social media, I swear, I think you're opening your own travel channel. Like, I'm watching all the places.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, yeah. So as I'm seeing you like promote this movie, it just got me thinking like about the pushback you'd be getting, like, because it's ingrained. It's like we have been, at least since my age, you know, that is a bad thing, and it's always shown as a bad thing in just about every movie. So I mean,
unless it's Mae West.
Okay, that's
sorry.
Okay, that's before my time. How old?
I'm sorry,
Carrie. I'm not that much
I
older
like
than
old
you.
Hollywood.
All right.
I'm so sorry, but
So-
she had class too.
So let's talk about that kind of push.
Yeah.
Okay, this sounds great. Like it might work, and it's the same argument in terms of marijuana and reefer madness, and
Yeah.
like so.
Yeah, so the opposition to decriminalization takes a few forms. So one is definitely at root a moral opposition to unregulated, unrestricted sexual activity. It's a sex panic, you know. How dare people be having sex just for the physical enjoyment of it? And you know, for Catholics, that is a sin, right? Even for Catholics, even having sex with your spouse only for fun is a sin.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's only for the procreation of children.
Only the procreation purpose is a valid reason for having
So
sex.
weird. That's so.
Yeah,
I wasn't raised Catholic. I'm like, that's just so
I
weird
was
to me.
semi. Well,
So
I went to
weird.
Catholic school. I wouldn't say my family was.
which
Catholic.
is why they're opposed to birth control, right? Because birth control implies you're only having the sex for fun, and that is specifically forbidden. So when we look at a lot of the organizations that exist that claim to be concerned about trafficking or abuse of sex workers, which are important concerns, when we look carefully at these organizations, what we find is that they're almost always funded by very conservative religious organizations. And what they're really upset about is people having unregulated sexual activity, because they're not really rescuing people. They're not really preventing trafficking. They're trying to conflate all consensual commercial sexual activity with trafficking and abuse.
And I would argue that tends to be more what you just said, but more focused on just women having unrestricted sex.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
The onus is always on women.
Right.
And
Right.
and then there's another opposition that's a little more complicated. And this comes from kind of old school, what we might call second wave feminists. Often this is women who came into professions in the 60s and 70s when a lot of professions for women were restricted, they couldn't get access to them, and they view feminism as a strategy for gaining a kind of gender equality in terms of access to these more elite professions, the law, medicine, business executives, these kinds of things, academia. And for them, part of what they were up against was this sexualization of the female identity in the workplace that got expressed as sexual harassment and sexual extortion and things like that. And for them, they're trying to, in a way, desexualize the female professional identity, because they think they're trying to say, we want to be judged on the basis of our abilities, our skills, our business sense, our professionalism, not the sexy clothes we're wearing, which is the way men had been treating women in the workplace previously. And so sex work to them feels like a re-sexualization of professional spheres for women, which is exactly what they're opposed to, what they've been working against. And so it's very hard for them to accept sex work as a legitimate profession. So they tend to not want to criminalize sex workers, but to criminalize the transactions and to criminalize the customers and to make it extremely difficult for them to legitimate this as an actual like helping therapeutic profession or anything like that. They're like, we know that, so that all these women in their mind are essentially victims who need to be saved. And the way we do that is not to criminalize them, but to criminalize the customers and anyone who might in any way be coercing, abusing, or benefiting from their activities. And this is where we get what we call the Nordic model or the end demand model, which is somewhere in between criminalization and legalization. It says, you know, we're not going to criminalize the women, but we're going to criminalize everyone else. So it basically still keeps everything in a hidden black market, stigmatized, and sex workers are universally opposed to this approach.
And that goes to something else I was going to ask you is that, well, first I'll say that you kind of mentioned it in the book, or if it was that explicit, I missed it, but almost everything that's ever done in terms of sex work and having it legal, illegal, decriminalized, whatever, sex workers are never involved in any of these decisions.
Very rare, yes. Yeah, or one of these groups, like a rescue group, will find a sex worker who had been abused in some way and will, turn them into a spokesperson for one of these points of views. But it's always like one or two individuals who've been in very desperate situations, and it does not in any way engage actual organized, politically activated, collectively minded collections of sex workers advocating on their own behalf. They get excluded from these conversations. Yes.
So I want to make sure we talk about the movie in a minute. I got one more. You said at the beginning about you were surprised to talk about the border stuff, which that could be another time. I mean, I was really wanted to talk about the movie in terms of criminalizing sex work. But so does criminalizing sex work help actual like trafficking operations like we're reading about, like with the Epstein files? I mean, that's really in the news. And so I'm just trying to connect those two, that, yeah, that's trafficking and that's coercion and that's like horrific. But doesn't that run the danger of wrapping up all sex work into dealing with the Epstein files?
Yeah. So first, definitely trafficking exists. It is terrible. It takes a variety of forms. Most of it is not in the U.S. this form of like, kidnapping people overseas and forcing them into dungeons there's very little of that. That's largely the stuff of television melodramas. But there are, for instance, underage sex workers who sometimes are engaged in survival sex, like I described earlier, but also who have been lured, misled, influenced, controlled, and this is a problem. So the question is, what's the most effective strategy for reducing the likelihood of this? Now, there's no world where we get rid of prostitution. There's no world where there's no harm, there's no trafficking, never happens. So the question is, what are the most effective strategies for reducing it as much as we can? And it just turns out that criminalization is not one of them. Right. That it's very rare for the kinds of buy and bust operations, sting operations, massage parlor raids. This just doesn't turn up trafficking. Trafficking is in a more hidden world. And also, the police might raid a massage parlor where there are people there who might technically meet the definition of trafficking, but the police don't have any way of knowing that because no one in the whole scenario is cooperating with them because they're being criminalized. And so, what we have found is that it's much more effective to use peer to peer outreach services, to go out on the streets, into the massage parlors, into various spaces, to work networks, to provide and to offer and provide services to people. And that's where someone says, you know, I'm in a situation where I can't leave, or I'm being abused, or someone is taking my money. And then we're at a position to be able to help them because they feel that they can tell the outreach worker what's really going on. Trafficking courts, police raids have just not been effective at doing that. What we find even is that someone is being trafficked, gets sent to trafficking court, goes to some alternative program, and then just goes back into the same situation because they still have no way to make a living. They still don't have housing. They still don't have their citizenship worked out. So they still have all these vulnerabilities. And one of the things I always ask the rescue people, the so-called anti-trafficking people, is does your organization support significant tax increases to pay for massive improvement in foster care and child welfare services? And the answer is always no.
It's always no.
It's always no. But in fact, that's how we reduce trafficking. Because the population of young people most at risk of trafficking are those in the foster care system, aging out of those systems without any supports. That's where trafficking primarily happens in the US. And this idea that we're going to bust down the door of a massage parlor and find all these people chained to the wall and free them, that's just a myth. That's not how this works.
Right. So, okay. So, and that's where I was going. And I'm sorry that this is probably, I don't see this as in the form of a question. So I'm sorry. So I'll say this and then I'll just let you riff off of it.
Okay.
There's no question here. But like you're saying, is that I'm seeing this issue, like almost everything that we say is a problem has to do with capitalism and how we don't have, like, people are worried on about surviving, and whether it's healthcare or housing and like
All
these
of
things
that.
that are human rights, that are people just trying to survive, to do anything they can to make it. For some folks, sex work is one of the answers, and by criminalizing it, you're criminalizing survival. And that's where you get this black market. That's where you get all the dangerousness. And that's how
Yeah.
I'm.
In the film, we have an interview with this sex worker who's a migrant who was born somewhere else. And she was covered by DACA, which was, you know, this pathway to work authorization for some children, for some people who were brought here as children without proper papers. And so she says in the interview that she decided to go more full time into sex work when Trump was elected because he was threatening to get rid of DACA, which was her only way to work legally. And so then the rescue people say, well, we're going to criminalize the Johns, the clients,
Yeah.
and that's going to liberate all the sex workers. But she says, but sex work is how I maintain my housing and have food to eat. If you criminalize the Johns, how am I going to survive? Like sex work, I'm in sex work because that's how I pay my bills in an environment where I don't have other options. And for the rescue and the Nordic model, they think she's just going to poof disappear because they've gotten rid of all the Johns. First of all,
All of a
you
sudden, she's
can't
gonna
get
have the
rid of the
best
John.
life.
Right.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
just, all of a sudden
So
she's like, "Your life is perfect now, right?"
and the irony of this is that these folks claim to be feminists and
Mhm.
yet never put themselves in the shoes of the actual women and men who are trying to survive and make difficult decisions in difficult circumstances. And the ultimate irony of this is that if you made this same argument about abortion,
Yeah.
they would be furious at you.
Right.
But
Mhm.
then they turn around and make exactly the same argument in relationship to sex work, which is we have an abstract, overarching moral principle, and we just don't care about your life circumstances. This is just going to be against the law. But when people try to say that to women, that their ability to make decisions about their own bodies is irrelevant, they're up in arms. So I would love to see some ideological consistency from these folks because it's sorely lacking.
Fair enough. All right. So look, you're I'm assuming award winning. You must have won an award for your authorship, right?
Yeah,
Somewhere.
it's a bestseller.
There you go.
Yay,
Best-selling
bestseller.
author. You're a travel icon. You're a professor. You're a movie
producer.
mogul.
Yeah.
So how did this end up happening? How did you get involved in like making a movie?
So, someone that I knew a little bit, Tammy Gold, is a filmmaker. At the time, she was a professor in the film department at Hunter College, and which is a sister school to Brooklyn College, where I work. We're all part of the City University of New York, so I knew her through our union. And she read The End of Policing and said, I want to make a movie out of some part of this. She really was moved by the book, and I was like, great. And we tried out a couple of ideas, and I said, I want it to be something that is about the organizing, that says we can, in fact, do something about the things in the book. And so there was a press conference announcing a campaign to decriminalize sex work in New York State. And I said, Tammy, why don't you? I think I was out of town. And I said, why don't you go take a crew and check it out? And she did. And not only did she love it, but actually one of her former students was involved in the effort. So between the fact that I knew people and now she knew people, people in the movement had read that chapter in The End of Police, so they knew already that we were in sync with them politically. And that allowed us to get access to people, which almost three-quarters of the battle in making a film like
Oh yeah.
this
Oh yeah.
is getting the incredible range, diversity of sex workers to agree to talk to us on camera.
So it's currently just being shown in individual places. It's not. I asked you this in an
Yeah,
email.
we're not doing like streaming yet.
Right.
It's available either to do like events with us and people in the film, which is typically what we like to do is have a panel. Uh, it is also available on the platform called Good Docs that a university, a library, or
I
a
have that app.
community-based group can license the film either perpetually as part of their permanent collection or on a short-term basis. So, for instance, for like around $100, a group could license the film for a showing.
Right.
So in Leeds next week, a sex worker collective is going to be holding a screening. None of us could get to Leeds for that, though.
Sure.
Even though I've done screenings in the UK, so they're just going to do it on their own. We trust them, obviously, to do it in a good way, but it's available in that way. So any organization that just wants to have a screening can go to Good Docs and license a film, or they should reach out to us so that we can help them possibly identify partners, possibly identify people in the film who might be available because they're not all in New York City at the moment. And so we're happy to try to assist to make these screenings as useful as possible.
Yeah, personally, I would love to organize maybe a screening here through the local Green Party. I mean, that's something that, which I also would be also my kind of internal activism, because as much as I love and adore the National Green Party's platform, I think sex work is a weak area. And I think they kind of slide into that Nordic model, and it, much to my chagrin, I mean, I give you props, because I have felt that it was inappropriate for me to do any advocacy within the Greens, being a male, you know, I'm not a sex worker. I just didn't think it was my place, but I did recognize that this part of the platform, as much as I love almost just about everything else in there, this is the weak area for us. I'd really,
I think the thing to do is not to say that you can't do it, but to say you should try to find some allies and be in partnership with people so that you're consulting with sex workers about the best options. So if people do want to reach out to us about any of these questions, we have an email address for that. It's justajobmovie@gmail. It's justajobmovie@gmail. Yeah.
I like that.
And and we'd be happy to talk. And the title of the film is Sex Work, It's Just a Job, which, website, social media, all that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it.
Thank
On a
you,
Sunday
Alex.
too.
My pleasure, and really appreciate the interest in the film. And if you just put a screening together, let us know, and we'll see what we can do.
That'd be awesome.
All right, very
I'd love
cool.
it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Okay,
Thanks,
great
Alex.
to see you all.
You too.
You too.
All right,
Nice to
bye-bye.
meet you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
take care.
Bye.
All right.
Good
the man,
times.
the myth, Alex Vitale.
Wow, look at us. We learned so much today.
And we know smart people.
We do know smart
So-
people. I know lots of people who are smarter than me.
Can
And
I
I
go
think
back to
that's
doing
great.
faces on here now?
Oh my
Just
God.
kidding.
Of course.
No, I think that I love the fact that I know lots of people who are smarter than me. I actually don't think I'm like a slouch in the smarts department.
That's
So
that's what
what I love.
The
I know
smart
lots
thing,
of people who are
the
smarter
smart
than me.
thing that smart people do is
Oh,
that they
they're smarter
find people
people.
smarter people.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
know.
You guys
I want to
said
know
smart,
things.
like how many times, man?
Don't get smart with me.
You're smart
Smarty
with
pants.
me. No, actually,
Smarty
I
pants.
think that's.
Nice.
I didn't understand the difference, but then it
Oh no,
really
I
connected.
totally thought it was different.
But
Oh
I
my
like
God.
the idea, because I know decriminalizing marijuana really changed those small infractions for a lot of people. They would target with small possessions, because of what it. So I wonder if it does make a difference if you would decriminalize sex work.
I
I
thought
think
it
it.
meant,
I mean,
getting
it
women,
obviously would give it. I think,
especially with
it-
cops being able to fuck with women sometimes.
I thought it
like,
was.
I'm
I
gonna charge
thought
you
it
with
meant,
prostitution
like,
or
it was still
solicitation.
legal. You just kind of ignored it. But apparently, that's not what it means. That's what I thought it meant.
That's
No,
what I
because
thought
I
it meant
think
too.
I think cops can fuck with some people, some women. They can charge them with
Well,
solicitation
Let's just be
with
honest.
no
cops
proof.
will fuck with people.
they'll just do it
Understood,
anyway,
but I'm
right.
just saying. Or a guy can fuck with a woman by saying she propositioned me.
Yeah. So, I want to give a little more detail to my thing at the beginning. So, one of the neighborhood associations,
And that can go the other way. I apologize. I don't want to say I only say one way. My bad.
one of the neighborhood association meetings I go to,
Sorry.
it started out during my last campaign, but I keep going. I mean, there's ways I can, do my part, mutual aid, that kind of stuff. And it is the part of town that is known for where the hoes hang out,
Yeah,
right? And
Ooh, which part?
You know the parts.
There's a couple.
hold on. So
Okay, I automatically went there.
Yeah, right.
For,
That's what I'm saying,
490.
'cause that's
Well, actually,
probably
there's
one of
also
the-
490 Motel area, Mart Reed. That's another house.
well, but that's in the general area. That's only.
But then there's
people-
Okay,
Lilac.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I know. There's two
So-
different.
Few places.
Then there's Lake Ave. I mean, there's.
But that's still. So what happens is when they do a sweep or whatever, they just move to the other 2-3 blocks away,
Right.
Jones Park, and where you used to live.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
yeah, we
that's
used to.
my hood,
It
dude.
is. I know. I remember
know
it.
the specific areas.
I know you do.
We
So-
used to call clock a hoe. Like if you could spot a hoe, like how many did you clock? Like how many did you see? You get good at it.
Fair enough. So the people at the
Sorry.
the people in the neighborhood.
I'm not mad. I'm
association,
just think it's fun. I don't know, I'm
as
not
they're
mad.
trying.
I would drive
to,
kids home sometimes, and they would tell me about it. I'm like, I can't admit to it, but we used to do it too.
as they're trying to improve their neighborhood and trying to bring businesses in there, and that is one of their complaints. And I've wanted to. Now I'm a little bit more knowledgeable, but I'm still not going to go into their meeting and go, hey, maybe you should advocate for decriminalization. They will kick my...
Yeah, they
Well,
they
and
don't
it's
want to
at
hear
the
it.
mee's at a library. They will throw books at me and
Oh yeah, they don't
other
want to hear it.
Do you
mass
know what?
media.
It just reminded me though. Neighborhoods looked out for their neighborhood hoes, though. You know, like you had like neighborhood watches and shit. Just
Well,
saying.
if it's somebody, if it's a
We
person
knew our
who's in the
neighborhood, like, we
neighborhood,
knew.
they
Well,
might live there. so they
However,
kinda
then
know
there
them.
was
And
the
they
drug
have done-
kit.
and they
Like
have-
490 Motel had the drug girls. Like nobody touched them. They were gross. Like, but then you had the neighborhood, like, but
The
nobody
family
messed
hose.
with them.
The family hose.
The family. I know
you
it
knew their
sounds
parents or
disgusting,
something.
but right, like
No, I
it's
know what you're saying.
weird.
I know what
I'm
you're
just
saying.
it's.
It's different. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's
and
like
I hate the fact that I'm saying it so nasty, but I'm trying to be funny, but it's not. Like there are people that it is a living, but then there's some people that it's feeding their habit.
Yes.
You know?
No, and that's
And then there's some
But
people
it's the
that
same
that's how
thing.
they're taking care of their kids, and it's sad.
Yes.
So
No question.
the community helped out and would watch out. That's what I meant by the community took care.
Okay, so this has relatively inspired me. I have to be careful on this one. The person we talked about last week, who I've reached out to about coming on the show as well, who is a sex worker, has not replied. I mean, they probably get a million messages in their
Right.
in their mail. And stuff
I
like that.
And that's
follow
why I
them.
feel bad just joking
Right.
about it
I
because
already-
it's not that. It's just that was. I know. I feel horrible. Oh my gosh.
I
That's how-
started following that person.
Dude,
that-
you're just having a conversation with
I
yourself.
really am. Oh my god.
Carrie, you're fine. You're fine.
I
Okay.
started following that person that
Yeah.
we were talking about, and she said something in one of her reels that I watched, and it really hit me. I just hadn't something I'd put two and two together. And you know how much I don't want to go on social media or Facebook, but I actually was like, this is actually, I think, it's something to think about, and I'm going to put it out there. It's just the fact that just because, I mean, you're the people in your, if you still have MAGA relatives and you hang out with them, don't fucking trust them. Because even though they may not be pedophiles, I used the word pedals. I thought that was a good word.
Pedals.
Pedals. They may not be
Ooh.
pedals, but
Okay.
just the fact that the way that they don't believe that this stuff is true, that they're still like just.
Well,
I mean, don't
They're
trust
the kind
them.
of family
Don't
members
trust
that'd be
them
like,
with
Uncle
your
Johnny
family.
would never do that. How dare you
Right,
say that?
Exactly. Don't trust these people. They are
Okay.
not trustworthy. Do not let your
Okay.
kids hang out with them alone. Do
That's
not-
why it
don't.
happens at generation after generation
it.
because there are people like the maggot, the pedals.
So even if they're not
The
pedals
mag-
themselves, they have already shown that they are not trustworthy because they believe
The
that
best,
these
the best
other
thing.
people
What
are.
is it? Turning Point USA. Somebody called them Turning Point. Yeah. T-Pusa.
T-Pusa.
T-Pusa. Pusa.
I
Pusse.
don't know.
T-Puses. The T-Puses.
So I'm.
You know what? Are you?
While-
You know what I'm talking? Did you see that reel?
I don't think I did, but
Yeah,
but
it's good, it's
I'm gonna have to toe a line here, so I'm not become stalker guy. But I do want to try to reach out, and because I'd really like to have her on, because she really
Yeah, I
seems
liked
like,
that video
yes.
a lot. That video was
Well,
really.
'cause she posts stuff about Palestine, and about not just about sex work stuff.
No, the only
and
stuff
not
I
just
saw
the-
was actually had nothing to do with sex work
and
at
not
all.
just the sexy stuff, which she does too, because
Right.
it's part of her job. I mean,
Right.
social media. But I want to.
No, she seems really.
Absolutely.
She seems really smart and
So-
interesting
so I
and
wanna-
well read. And
I will
I
try
wanna-
to reach out
What is
again
this?
without being creepy.
I don't know if
who's
we're saying
coming
this person's
on.
name
I'll
on
say
it.
it. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Cody Vore.
Oh.
CODI
My bad.
VORE.
My bad. We were looking her up. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I looked.
no,
her,
no.
I started
I would
following
totally
her.
say her because if you're not,
Yeah, she's
if
great.
you don't know
She was
about her,
really
you
cool.
should go find out about her. No, she's even if you're not into the sexy stuff.
Yeah, like I said, I
know,
didn't actually
visuals.
watch any sexy type stuff that she posted. I just saw a couple of reels of she posted that were one was about Palestine and the other one was about the Epstein files and that it just that I hadn't put two and two together for there, and I was like, hey, I have friends still that have MAGA relatives and MAGA friends that they still hang out with, and I'm like, you might want to think about this. Not saying that they are like this, but you may want to think about it. Just put it in your cap there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow,
so
that
it's
was
really
great.
weird. So we're on Zoom, Still,
I know, it is
we're
weird,
recording by
feels-
Zoom, but it also doesn't give me the exact time of how long we've gone. About
We're at
45 minutes ish.
yes, because we started just a few minutes after 4.
Right. So we could we can have a shorter show. How y'all doing?
We're still going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carrie. Is that
Valentine's
fun?
Day was yesterday.
No, I just found this new song. I don't know. It's
we had a good
Lydia
day at
the
the
Bard.
we had a
It's pretty
really
cool.
good day at the bakery
Did you
yesterday.
do heart-shaped things for the store?
No, but we
Didn't
did have a
they?
lot of
Oh.
delicious. We had a lot of chocolate things, and oh my god! So we made, I think, the most delicious thing I've had yet, and I've had a lot of delicious things there. It was a sticky bun, like a dome-shaped sticky bun, and then the middle, you took out the middle, and she put in this, and it was Jen and Jared made it because Jen, the owner,
It
was
wasn't
sick.
Velveeta, was it?
No, it was passion
That's my
fruit.
idea.
It was a passion fruit. They made homemade passion fruit curd, and then added a little bit of homemade whipped cream to it, and
so
then a
that
whip
sounds
with it,
sweet.
and then put it in the middle of it. So they did a stuffed, and then they added a couple of passion fruit seeds on top. Dan and I bought one for each of us. We had it yesterday after our Valentine's Day dinner because we had dinner at home, and we both were like, almost speechless.
That sounds. So
I'm sorry.
good.
I'm going to say it. If you live in Rochester and you don't go to Jen's Artisan for breads and pastries, you're missing out because this was
that's
serious.
Definitely a specialty thing that's not a regular.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. But the thing is that she does those things. So
Yeah, no,
on
there's always
occasion.
something.
There's always something. But that is literally. Well, I mean, everybody's going to say everybody has different opinions on what they think is the most tasty. But for me, it was just perfection.
It sounds.
It was
wonderful.
perfection, and I didn't want it to end.
Huh?
I ate it kind of slowish because I didn't want it to end. It was so good.
Does
Not
sound
not in
really
a
good.
weird way, right? Though you didn't.
No,
like,
I just
Did you put
Okay,
background music on?
Oh.
Did
Well,
every
we were
Light
watching a
motion
movie. We were watching a movie.
like the guy in Rocky
No.
did every Rocky episode. No, that's the one. No,
That
the black
Adrian
guy
thing?
in no the
Oh.
the black guy in Apollo Creed's Corner.
Oh, Paul. Oh, okay.
In every one, he always had some scene where he went no. When someone was getting their ass kicked, he did it in every damn movie. No.
You guys had to have seen this. Oh my god.
Oh my god! No, I know. No, I've seen the Rocky movies. I haven't
Everyone-
seen
yeah.
all of them, but I've seen
don't
the
think
first
about-
like 3. I
But you
think.
know how my brain works. I pick up on dumb shit like that, and I'm just like, he did that in the other 2 movies. What the hell?
Yeah.
That's like his thing. He's typecast.
I think I saw the Dolph Lundgren one. That was the last
Do the
one.
move. Hey, Bill, do the move. He goes to kids' parties. Daddy, do the move. No. Going to hit the pinata. No. He dives in front. No.
Good
Dear
time.
Lord.
I don't even know his name. I see his face. It's black
The
eye,
guy,
bald
the Apollo
head.
Creed guy.
Yeah, black. He's black, bald head.
Why did
Not
I think-
Apollo Creed.
No,
the
not
other
Apollo.
guy.
It was always his trainer. It was
Right.
always in the.
The guy in the corner.
Yeah, the trainer. No,
The
not
guy
Carl
holding the
Weathers.
spit bucket.
No, he was too good
No,
to
no, no.
spit bucket.
No,
They had-
he was
they had some
more
minion
important
doing
than
that.
Spit
Yeah,
Bucket
yeah.
guy.
He was the neuro guy.
The neuro
In the credits, neuro guy.
guy.
So bad. Look, we still have hire that guy, will you? Alex, you media mogul now. Did you do movies? Hire the neuro guy.
Oh, that's a good shirt. I'm the neuro guy.
With his face. I could totally make that. Remember the button I made?
Which button?
Okay, so I think it was my first school board race. Someone I knew had or someone I knew.
I remember
a friend
it.
of a friend had
do
like one of those
remember it.
button makers.
Yeah,
So
God,
I made
love those.
campaign
We had them
buttons,
in high
but I
school.
had material left over, and so it was right around the time of the Whitney Houston, Barbara Walters interview, where she had like the best line ever when she just straightened up her back and was
Crack is
really
whack?
adamant with crack is whack. I don't do crack. And so I made a button that said with Whitney's face on it, said crack is whack.
Oh my god!
It
I
was,
must have
uh,
missed
it was-
that interview.
Oh, it was horrible.
We had a
you-
button
you've
maker.
never
we made
seen
buttons
that?
for no. We made buttons for ourselves.
Crack
We were in high
That
school.
is like such a famous interview.
for,
I'm surprised.
I think I had children at that time. I don't know. I was
Oh,
busy
okay.
watching.
Yeah, no, I get that because stuff happened in the early 2000s, and I'm like, I don't remember
If
that.
This was
I had
in
a
the late
child.
90s. I had 3 children. I
No, it was in the 2000s, early 2000s.
still,
Crack was
same,
whack
Same.
and-
I still had 3
Yeah.
children.
Crack was whack in the 90s.
We
too,
made
so.
pins. our band was called Almost Famous, and I know that was called somebody else. We thought we were cool. I don't know, but we all made tunes.
Carrie, you need a new band name.
Yeah,
which you can get. It's
I know you can. Oh, I didn't even know I set you up for that.
Thank
But
you. I
anywho,
appreciate that. But if you didn't know, folks, after listening to this, if your band needs a new name, there's a little tab at the top of StuartBrasso.com, band names, and you can go and take one of our I
have a new one.
Band names. Do you have? What's your new band name?
Tell them or don't.
What?
Tell
them or do.
Stop it. It is.
Don't do it.
I won't do that one.
It was so
my
dumb.
So, yeah.
It was. So, I just looked at that. I'm like, tell them or do. Tell them or don't. I feel like you're dumb.
So, if you're listening to this, I don't know, like immediately, this will get posted later tonight. But because I have to go to my mom's for tacos.
Well, that's not the worst thing.
No, not at all.
No,
I'm
no.
just saying.
Tell Mom we said hi.
I will.
Hi, Mom.
So just in a couple more days, we're recording another show. Just because this was the day we could get Alex on, and then in a couple days is the day we can get Special K on, because it's very hard to coordinate that. So I already told her that we're going to do the show, and it'll get posted a little bit later. And she was like, "As long as I get to come talk to you guys, I don't care. It's fine." So
I might wobble in. God only knows.
You never know.
well, it's at 1 o'clock.
My thing's happening in the morning. What time?
1 o'clock. Oh, you won't want to come in.
I don't know. I might be pretty
Maybe
juiced
loopy. You
up.
better be a
That would be
little
interesting.
You'll
Right.
be loopy.
I'll
It'll be
have a
funny.
driver. I'll have a driver.
It'll be
magic. Your own
Is your
special
son
chocolates.
driving?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He did say, "Hey, you guys ever want to interview me?" I don't know. I don't know about that.
I mean, does he have something he wants to talk about?
Oh, we don't know if we want to hear about that.
Okay. All right then.
He I don't know about that.
I mean, my kid's been on the show. Dave's kid's been on the show.
We can go. He would take you down some rabbit holes, that's for sure.
I mean, I'm down for a rabbit hole, but I don't know. Dave might.
Well, here's the thing: we can always record it. It doesn't.
There
have
you
to,
go.
It can go on our Patreon page.
However, he was a Trump supporter and no longer is.
that would be.
That's interesting
Has
enough.
seen the light.
I mean, that could be an interesting
Has
conversation.
seen the light.
Could.
Fortunately, the light's flickering and causes seizures. But hey, he's.
But you know, he's seen.
that was just a joke. It was just-
Sees how
silly.
they lie to you right to your face.
Yeah, dude, they do.
Shocking.
Is he saying shit like the lizard people are running the country, or is he?
not
Oh,
that
Okay,
bad.
good.
Well, that's good.
Okay,
All right.
that's-
Or like he's really susceptible to conspiracy.
Yeah, but thanks to the Epstein files, we're finding out a lot of those conspiracies were actually true.
I know that's
I
the
know.
weirdest
You're-
part. Is like these conspiracies were not like the Pizzagate thing was kind of.
And I always used to tell
True, they
him,
just
like
didn't say it right.
those weird things. There's probably bits and pieces of truth. In most craziness, there's a bit and pieces of truth. It's just they're never going to come out and tell you.
Like spider eggs and bubble yum.
Oh, I remember that
Yeah.
one.
I had a
It's just
teacher
for
that
you.
worked.
Yeah, old
I had a
people.
teacher that worked at Zweigel's factory, and he told
Oh.
me what was really in that crap. I won't eat a hot dog ever again in my life.
Oh, whatever.
We know that there's
we know there's.
assholes.
But if
and
you think
noses.
about a meat processing plant, what can't
Yeah.
be in there?
I assume that if I'm eating a hot
Correct.
dog, I am eating gross.
Correct.
It tastes delicious.
Correct.
I
didn't need it
understand
verified. I
Right.
did not
Basically-
need it verified.
No,
I'm
you
basically-
don't. I just you
I'm-
know it's crap. You know
I'm
it.
basically giving a pig a rim job.
Yeah, I know that.
Well, my
It's fine.
son's like, Mom, I don't need somebody logical to debunk everything. Like, he had a mother who was logical about, I need that proof, blah, blah, blah. But I did say, like, I can't ever say anything's 100%. I always have to allow for the possibility that this has to be true.
I kind of agree with. Yeah, I sort
Yeah.
of go with that.
I
too.
just don't think this is logically true. However, I can't say that I'm 100% right and you're wrong. I just don't think that that's realistic. So
The
we
kinds
would
of
argue
things
with
he
that.
does. Yeah.
So it was easy for him to say, okay, yeah. I
Does he
see.
believe in Bigfoot?
Dude, you go to Bigfoot.
Hang
That's what you went?
on.
Dan believes in Bigfoot.
He believes.
I don't.
He
you know what?
really
I
believes
don't
in
believe
aliens.
it. I
He really
do too.
believes
No,
in
I
aliens.
do too. I actually believe in
Yes.
aliens for 100%.
So we had
But
this
Bigfoot,
conversation
I'm
where
on, like, a
I
fence.
can't say you're wrong. I just haven't seen enough evidence
Gotcha.
to say
That you
that
go
I
with that.
100% know
Right.
they're here. However, logically, if they've been here for this long, I can't imagine they've been hidden and can be hidden this long.
Oh,
So
if they've been here, they probably fucking gave up on us.
correct. I guess
It's a
logically,
fictitious.
like what you're explaining is so elaborate.
They have to be.
Humans can't keep
real.
secrets like this.
I have the box
like,
set,
come
UFO.
on. Like,
Yeah,
maybe,
they're real.
but that's awfully elaborate. Think about people. Can they keep secrets? Like, I don't know. But
Did you see the movie
conversations.
Begonia?
Oh, I don't know. I got some secrets.
No,
Oh,
but
okay.
he and my mother used to have great conversations.
You should see the movie Begonia. There's an alien thing to it that I had no idea when I watched it, and I was like,
I
is awesome.
love getting in. I love
It was
mysteries where they can get me with like science, and when then you get me, and then there'll be something that's like, oh crap, I can debunk that. Damn it, you had me, and then, so I love those. If you can catch me with it.
this was just a movie.
The Da Vinci Code, I love those because you can get that like, ooh, I can follow this. Ooh, I can follow this.
I didn't like the movie
I don't think
that
it's
much,
true,
but the book was
but-
great. The book was so good.
And there's a shit ton of coincidence.
Book
I
had me
truly
riveted.
believe in coincidences. I mean, where do you get religion from? Come on now. There's enough. However, I'm also a mathematician, or let me rephrase that. I really love math. So Fibonacci sequence, science, the nature.
Love the Fibonacci
There's
sequence.
tons of that in nature.
Love a Fibonacci.
Correct.
Love it.
So
You're like whatever that is.
I've heard of it. I just forgot. I'm sure I've seen what
It's
it is.
a
I
little.
just-
so
I
all
just
of
made
this
it-
stuff
That didn't help me.
has come through all of these years. Like it makes sense. So you can put stuff together. I don't deny that there are things that can be related. So have at it. Show it to me.
Yeah. Do it.
Prove it.
Hi, Dave.
I think we're gonna go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that
you gotta
right?
go. Yeah, you gotta have tacos with
No,
mom.
we're not actually supposed to be there for a while, but whatever, I'm just telling
All right,
you.
yeah, yeah,
So
cool. Yeah, we're good.
We're gonna be back, like probably sooner than you
Yeah,
want
a
us,
couple days.
but whatever.
In 2 days.
And we'll
I
have
want tacos now.
special
Kind of
K.
do.
Sorry, didn't mean to do that to you.
I know. I really do kind of want tacos.
We'll have
Text Danny,
Special
"Can I
K
get
here, the return, and I will have bits. In fact, this boy,
Bits is
how about
bits.
this? How about this? From our conversation with Alex Vitale, I had an idea for a bit.
Yay!
Uh-oh.
It is an uh-oh. I'm gonna have
You
to.
should have an
Well, you want me to tell you what it is?
Are you going to
Yeah.
decriminalize your bits?
No.
Are we going to caramelize your bits?
I don't think my bits have ever been criminalized.
Kind of caramelize
I mean, they
your
might be a
bits?
shame, but I don't think they're a crime. If you know what I'm saying. No,
Hardy
but you know
har.
those horrible ASPCA PSAs? You know, this
Yeah, that's
dog's
a lot
in a
of
cage.
PSAs and-
I know Bucky's in a cage and
Yeah,
their
yeah,
last
yeah.
book of food and they're out in the cold. I could do something like that, making fun of it, like with sex workers. I know, but make it so over the top to make it funny. It has to be
make
ridiculous, or else it won't be funny.
No,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
then it'll look like you're an asshole.
Right? No,
You have to be really stupid.
No, it has to be. It's going to be over the top stupid.
Oh, okay.
That's to
As long
make
as
it
it's over
funny.
the top stupid.
Well, I'm going to write it, and if it doesn't work, then we don't do it.
We'll go. No, we can't do this. Dave.
Right? That's not that's never happened before.
Never.
So but that was the idea. I wrote it on a piece of paper. So we'll see what happens. All right, we'll be back.
We'll see you again.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Are you or a loved one someone who used capitalism to scratch out half a tolerable existence only to find yourself empty, angry, and lonely? Call 1-800-388-5377 to find out if you're eligible to participate in a class action lawsuit against the too many to name perpetrators of this hoax. These capitalist parasites had prior knowledge of the permanent effects of such products as one-day delivery, cell phones, sport utility vehicles, rock'em sock'em robots. To see if you're eligible for this class action lawsuit, which could total $17 million, billion, gazillion dollars, call 1-800-388-5377. That's 1-800-FUCKERS. Or go to www.bougiebastards.com. The rat race was created by rat bastards, and now it's time to get out the glue traps. Call 1-800-FUCKERS or go to bougiebastards.com.